Vast gas reserves discovered in the Russian far north. The race for resources on top of the world is heating up. And as RT's Marina Portnaya reports, relations between countries with claims on the Arctic are quickly going on ice.
According to reports, Russia's stock in the Arctic Circle has potentially skyrocketed. Researchers say evidence shows new and large hydrocarbon deposits have been discovered in the Pechora and Kara seas. The find could equate to a pot of gold for Russia's gas industry. Now, in recent years, melting ice caps have given way to shipping routes and the exploration of resources at the bottom of the world's smallest ocean. Approximately 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas and 15% of its oil lie in the Arctic. But the majority of those riches remain offshore. Russia, the U.S., Norway, Denmark, and Canada border the Arctic and have sovereign rights to resources within 200 nautical miles of their territorial waterways. Over the past decades, an international framework and an Arctic Council has been established for offshore oil and gas activities, as well as fostering cooperation among all parties. Now, experts say the future of the world economy, to some extent, is dependent on the Arctic. But a growing appetite for a bigger slice of the pie is what many fear can inevitably spark a 21st century Cold War in the frozen waters.
When it comes to the Arctic, world powers talk of cooperation.
Russia, the major Arctic power, is ready for close partnership within the Arctic Council.
As President Obama has said, the Arctic region is peaceful, stable, and free of conflict. Our goal is to help assure it stays that way. Ultimately, we envision a secure and stable Arctic, where all nations' interests are safeguarded, and where all nations work together. They work together to address problems and resolve differences.
But actions often speak louder than words. As majestic ice caps are melting, a military race is building up in the region. The U.S. Navy recently debuted a revised roadmap focused on expanding America's muscle on the world's smallest ocean over the next decade. Tasks include increasing the number of personnel trained in Arctic operations, advancing technical equipment, and surveillance needs. The ultimate goal, establishing international order advanced by the U.S. leadership.
They want to be a leader, as they are in pretty much everything else in the world, and they see themselves as a driving force in the future planning of the Arctic.
Earlier this year, NATO countries participated in a Norwegian-led cold response exercise in the Arctic, rehearsing high-intensity operations in extreme conditions. Non-NATO participants, Sweden and Switzerland, also took part.
The United States is anxious to militarize the Arctic Ocean. It has to do it via its relationship to Canada, and it is also seeking to do it via NATO through the participation of Norway and Denmark in NATO, and now it is calling upon Sweden and Finland to essentially join NATO with a view to establishing a NATO agenda in the Arctic.
Meanwhile, Canada has been staging its own independent drills with hundreds of soldiers participating in cold weather winter warfare exercises. Not to be left out, Russia last month dispatched 4 strategic bombers to patrol over the Arctic. Moscow has been calling for tighter security along the country's Arctic frontiers and along its maritime transportation routes in the polar region.
The Arctic countries, they already have a strong interest in collaboration in search and rescue in terms of accident, because it's an enormous territory and very few installations in the area. There is an interest in having common standards for shipping or oil and gas development, and maybe the big future would be common trade, that you produce things shipped from one place in the Arctic to.
According to those with experience in the Arctic, conquering one of the most extreme regions on Earth is no job for just one country, no matter its military might. Experts say safeguarding and exploring the top of the world can be best achieved through international cooperation. Marina Portnaya, RT New York.